Hey everybody, can you believe it's already lesson 6 in the real numbers course? In this lesson, we're going to talk a little bit more about fractions in the real world. But before we do, let's recap where we were in our last lesson. The most important thing we did was we introduced fractions, and we said fractions are numbers. Fractions are numbers. They're special numbers. They're the tiny guys that help us describe parts of things, but they're numbers. In fact, we can represent them. It might help us understand what's happening with them. So let's say you wanted to represent 3/5 using these bars that you have laying around. Well, right off the bat, you and I know that 3/5 is less than 1. So we don't need those other 2 bars. Let's get rid of those guys. What we're going to do is take 1 bar, split it up into 5 equal pieces, and keep 3 of them. 3/5. Even a number like 17, take a hike, even 17/20 we can do with bars. Now, we can't show all the 20 pieces, that's too hard for us by hand, but what we developed was benchmarking, right? If you were to have all the pieces right at the right edge, that's where the 20th piece would end. If we cut, oh, I just remembered something. Thanks, computer. See that? That's where 0 pieces would be. If you didn't have any 20ths, you'd have 0 20ths. So that's kind of an important benchmark just to sort of see what's happening there. So throw it on there. Thanks, computer. But if we cut it right in half, that's where the 10th piece would be, right? 20 divided by 2. Since I'm looking for 17/20, I don't really have a benchmark in the neighborhood of where I want to be. So let me cut that left part in half one more time. 10 divided by 2 is 5. And now I've got a nice system because 5, 10, 15 is where that next benchmark is. And 15 is pretty close to 17, so I just need to go 2 20ths to the right, and that's where 17/20 would be. So I'm going to shade all the way up to it. There we go. We also introduced a little bit of terminology. We said that percent means hundredths. Percent means hundredths. So just keep that in mind as we go forward. We did talk a little bit, we did a few examples about fractions in the real world in our last video, but this is such a big deal that we really want this stuff to be solid for you. So we're going to do a few more examples today. Let's do some. This wire is 1 centimeter long, and let's say you want to cut a little piece that's 5-6 centimeters long. Well, just like we did with the fraction bars a second ago, we're going to do the same thing with this little piece of wire. Let's take it and we're going to split it. I'm going to put a little ends on it just for my own benefit. We need to split this piece, this 1 centimeter long piece, into 6 equal pieces, right? 5/6. And you know what? The best way for me to do that, I'm going to split it into 3 equal pieces and then cut each of those into 2 equal pieces. Now we've got 6. So let's see where we need to go. We need to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Right there. That's where we're going to make our cut. So let me just shade this in. Right up to there. That piece of wire is 5/6 centimeters long. Okay? Now I made kind of a mess of that figure, but here's one, a piece there that's exactly 5/6 centimeters long. Exactly. As close as I can get with doing it by hand. Don't worry. All right, how about this one? Let's say you need to pour in 5/6, you need to measure out 5/16 quarts of oil. And you just so happen to have a bunch of 1-quart containers laying around in your garage or something, all right? Well, again, we don't need all those quarts, we just need 1-quart container because 5/16 is less than 1. So I'm just gonna concentrate on that leftmost container and we'll divide that up. So let's go ahead and split that up. Who's talking while I'm talking? Who is that? Because it was beautiful. Whoever said that, I heard somebody say benchmarking. Yeah, 16ths is a perfect candidate for benchmarking. Let's do it. Nice thinking. Excellent. So here's our quart on the far left there, the container. That's where 0 quarts would be. If I filled it all the way up to the top, that would be 16/16. That's where the 16th piece would end. Half of it That's where the 1/8 piece would be. And let me cut it in half one more time. That's where 4/16 would be. So I just need to go 1/16. Remember, we're looking for 5/16. Higher than that. That's where 5/16 would be. So let me fill it up with my purple oil. I don't think I've ever seen that. But there we go. There's a nice representation of 5/16. All right. Why don't we go the other way? We'll get the figure and then we'll have to attach the fraction to it. It's always a little bit tougher, but let's give it a shot. Let's say you've got this piece of wood and it's exactly 1 foot long, all right? And you want to measure this piece. You want to know how long that piece is. So the top piece is 1 foot long, exactly 1 foot long. You want to measure that shorter piece. All right, well, let's do this. You know what? It's often hard to draw on the figures. So what I'm going to do, it's a little bit cumbersome, but I'm going to try my best. There's the 1 foot piece. I just redrew it underneath it. That's the guy I'm going to try to divide up. Okay, I'm going to draw on that one. So I'll tell you what. We have to pick a denominator. We have to pick a piece that we're going to break that bar up into. And I'll tell you what. Let's try fifths. I think that jumps into my mind because in our last video we tried fifths and it worked. I don't know. Well, let's give it a shot. Let's try it. So let's see. If I do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I've got fifths here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 equal pieces. And let me see, where could I shade up to? Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, it's not great. See, I'm a little bit short when the pieces I have are fifths. So one thing we do know is that wood is a little bit longer than 4/5 feet. What can we do here? So this is 4/5, and that didn't quite do it. Maybe if we used a smaller piece than fifths, they might be able to fit in there better. I'll tell you what. What if we tried tenths? Let's give it a shot. I'm going to redraw my measurement piece here. This is 1 foot long. The nice thing about tenths, having just done fifths, is each one is half as long. So it's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Look at this. If we now shade up 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, that looks pretty good. I'm sorry to draw over this, but that's not bad. That's pretty darn close to the tip of that piece of wood. So I'm willing to call it 9/10 feet. Okay, approximately. Okay, we're doing our best. Looking all right? I hope that helped to sort of see an initial attempt, a first try, and then it didn't work. And then we tweaked it a little bit. That's going to happen, okay? Don't be afraid to try something. If it doesn't work, you learn from it and you tweak it, all right? Let's try one more. What if you were taking a gallon of paint, comes in a gallon can, and you're painting your walls and you finish up and you want to know how much paint you have left in the container. And let's say that's it, okay? So you want to know how much, what is that color? Teal? It's my interior designer, my mom. She says it's teal. All right, teal. You want to know how much teal paint you have left in there? Well, let's do the same thing. I'm going to redraw the container. And so I don't draw on the figure itself. And let's divide that one up. All right, you know what? I'm going to try fifths again. Seemed to work as a nice first step in the last problem. Let's do fifths. So 1, 2, 3, 4. All right. Again, my divisions are not perfect, but okay, let's see what we got. It looks like, hey, not bad. All right, maybe it's like 1/5 of a gallon. It's not bad, not bad. That's 1/5 of a gallon. Might be able to get better. There was a lot going on there that could be better in my drawing. But what if we had? It looks like we're just a little bit smaller than 1/5. You guys want to try 1/6? Remember, the bigger the denominator, the smaller the pieces. Let's try to do 6 and see how it goes. Again, I'm redrawing the can. Let's do 6 equal pieces. So 1, see if this works out. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That looks pretty darn good. And, oh, I feel like I should do teal. I don't think I have teal on my computer. Oh, it's as close as I can get. Sorry. It's the real world after all. All right, all joking aside, if that's 1/6 of a gallon, let me just draw it over here. Look at that. Very, very nice. Okay, I think our second try at this again really did it well. So this is 1/6 of a gallon. That's how much we have left. That means this is 1/6 of a gallon, right? Excellent. Okay. Well, why are we making such a big deal about fractions in the real world? Well, these number bars represent numbers, and numbers represent things in the real world. Really, really important things in the real world. So that's why this is such a big deal. Like, for example, let's say your boss calls you in and says, all right, Nazelli, you can either have 2/3 of your salary or 3/10 of your salary. What do you want? You pick right away. Well, then I need to know, hopefully that doesn't happen. I need to know which is the bigger part. Like, I want as much money as I can so I can feed my family and my interior designer, right? Well, think about it this way. If that bar represents your whole salary, you can either have 2/3 of it or 3/10 of it. And you should know which one you should pick, which one's going to be bigger. Okay. Again, if you need to show those bars right now to make sense of it, go for it. There's the divisions. We keep 2/3 or 3/10. Looking at that green, you know that 2/3 is bigger than 3/10. So 2/3 of a salary is bigger than 3/10 of a salary. All right. It's important stuff. Excellent, excellent job today. When we come back in our next lesson, we'll push on with fractions. It was a real pleasure. Take care, guys.